Let's watch Trump speak from the Oval Office as he continues his quest to become the first president to spend 23 of the 24 hours each and every day that he is president on camera. The 24th of which he needs off so he can go play golf, of course, because why not? It's not like he's working on any legislation.
If 64 people lost their lives last night, if you aren't confident that DEI had any role, why bring it up?
Well, all I'm talking about is competence.
This is racism. I just want to clarify that here. Nothing in any DEI legislation you could ever find says anything about unqualified diversity. In the exact executive order Trump overturned, it actually specifically states among qualified candidates. This idea that to do DEI, to diversify your hiring process, you inherently are taking in less people is racism. You have to understand the crux of what he's saying here, because DEI pushes for representation in institutions, education, the workforce to be comparable to the population size of that, whatever the group is. With Black people, it's 14%, right? Because there is enough qualified Black people to be in 14% of all STEM jobs or whatever the field may be, right? It's about the removal of these unconscious biases that prevent that from happening, because at the end of the day, they're qualified, right? Being Black, being white has been considered a merit for hundreds of years, and it shouldn't be. And instead of, I don't know, accepting that, allowing it to happen, MAGA is countering it by leaning further into unconscious biases and doubling down that all DEI hires are unqualified and incompetent. Incompetence is gutting the FAA and the TSA without replacing the staffing until the day after a major crash happens.
Egypt's president and the King of Jordan have both said that they won't take in displaced people from Gaza like you suggested. Is there anything you can do to make them do that? I mean, tariffs against those countries, for example?
They will do it. They will do it.
What makes you say that?
They're going to do it.
Okay, so first to point out, he obviously has no plan to actually make this happen, which is why he's just saying something vague. But also, what he's talking about here is insanely racist and imperialist. He's talking about ethnically cleansing millions of Palestinians from their homes and forcing them to move into culturally different countries. And this kind of just plays into the racism here and trying to generalize all Arab culture into being the same. That's probably the argument they would make is, well, they're Arabs, right? We actually had a great conversation with a PhD yesterday on this, where the right tries to conflate ethnicities into race as a way to downplay cultural differences to make blanket racism a lot easier. When the Irish were displaced from Europe, we wouldn't have just said, well, you'll be okay in France. You can just move to France. You know, you're both European whites, because we understand the cultural differences there. And the same should be considered for Palestinians when racists like Trump are offering Jordan or Egypt to take them in just because they're brown people, just because they're Arabs, just because even they're Muslims doesn't mean they're of the exact same culture and beliefs. And it's just going to be a seamless transition. And it's also, Israel can be rewarded for its genocide nonetheless, and its decades-long occupation of Gaza by being handed Gaza. I guess those Miriam Adelson $100 million Trump donations really paid off after all.
On Canada and Mexico, 25%. That's coming on Saturday?
It's coming on the first Saturday.
But no oil tariff, no oil tariffs.
No, I don't. Well, I didn't say that. You said that. No.
Well, I don't want to misinterpret.
No, we may or may not. We're going to make that determination probably tonight on oil. Yeah, because they send us oil. We'll see. It depends on what the price is. If the oil is properly priced, if they treat us properly, which they don't. Look, Mexico and Canada have never been good to us on trade. They've treated us very unfairly on trade. And we will be able to make that up very quickly, because we don't need the products that they have. We have all the oil you need. We have all the trees you need, meaning the lumber.
I can't remember the term for someone who thinks everything should be made within the country, but Trump is definitely that. And it's just not feasible. It's honestly really just kind of dumb. Not going to lie. It's impractical. That's the word we'll use, to be nice. There's so many things on a micro level through the process of manufacturing that would be ridiculous to try to do here. The small bits and pieces that go into like the car to make the full car. And with anything we're manufacturing, this is going to be the case. There's so many parts and pieces that is so much more efficient to just import from a country with the infrastructure to do it for much cheaper. So then we can manufacture on a more massive level of things of importance that allows for more innovation also, and to do this cheaper. With Canada, what he's talking about here, we import oil from Canada that we can't get from anywhere else. So we would still have to get it from them. Us having different oil doesn't matter. I mean, it would just only raise our prices for the oil we are getting from Canada. With Mexico and with Canada as well, in some of the other extents, we refine most of the oil we get from them, and then we turn and sell it for like a 200% profit, which is larger than the margin we make on our own oil, if I'm not mistaken. These are all things that Trump probably isn't even smart enough to understand. I don't think he really knows the nuances of these kinds of things before he acts recklessly. Though I do love that he's talking about implementing tariffs, something that will undoubtedly raise prices on consumers, historically always raises prices on consumers, before he's talking about implementing anything to actually lower the prices, like he was, I don't know, voted in for. You gotta love a man with priorities, am I right?